All right, welcome back in, everybody. Happy Thursday, one and all. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Gunner, before we get to Quintin, let's hit the people with a couple of news items here.
Wow.
Frank Reich, according to Ian Rappaport and several other outlets, is being named the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. So Frank Reich gets that gig after, something didn't end all that pretty in Indianapolis. So Reich gets the gig there. Nathaniel Hackett hired as the OC in New York for the Jets, which has a lot of people speculating if that's where Aaron Rodgers is headed because those two are so close. So anyway, Frank Reich, head coach at the Panthers, and Nathaniel Hackett goes as the OC to the Jets. All right, let's bring on our next guest. And man, what a good Eagle. What a tough player he was for the Birds, man. You can follow him on Twitter at QMichael27. Quintin Mikell, what's up, Quintin? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Rob? D Gunn, how you guys doing?
Good, and you, man?
Good to talk to you again, man. I'm glad you're doing well. Everything's good. Now, Gunner, I know you used to coach with my buddy Danny Klecko. You guys were partners in the youth coaching scene, but you made a little change, huh? No longer in the Philly area.
Yeah, it was funny coaching with Kleck. He's as intense as a father / coach as he was as a player. So it was a lot of fun. And recently, and as recent as August, me and my family just kind of picked up and moved to the Northwest. We're in Boise, Idaho, and kind of nice being back around my roots, and just wanted to change it up and get the family some different perspectives and different adventures out here in the Northwest. So it's been a great move for us. We've been enjoying it. It's been tough, moving away from everyone, our family and friends, but it's been fun.
Now, is your wife from Boise?
No, she's from Jersey, so you can imagine how tough that is.
I was going to say because you're from New Orleans, you lived in South Jersey all this time, and you go back to your college roots. And I was going to, what made you decide to go back there of all the places you could have possibly gone? Because I'm in a similar situation. My wife's from California, and I've been dragging her and I'm from Wisconsin. I've dragged her all over the country for the last 4 decades. So I'm curious as to why you went back to Boise.
Well, when we decided to move, a lot of it was, just being in that area for so long. You kind of get stuck in a rut and kind of doing the same old thing over and over again. And, I went to high school out in Eugene, Oregon. So I've been in the Northwest for quite a while. And we looked at all these different places. We were looking at Florida, we were looking at Texas, Tennessee, just all these different areas to move just to figure out what our next step was going to be. And, a lot of our friends, a lot of my friends, especially, and friends of my friends' wives and stuff are really close with my wife. And so we were like, we wanted to go somewhere where we had kind of a network and had some friends already there and some things kind of popping around. So we just decided Boise, and we couldn't be happier.
You want to pay those Jersey taxes.
Exactly. Get a little more for your bang for your buck for housing, too. That's for sure. Quintin played for the Birds from 2003 to 2010, of course, and finished up his NFL career with St. Louis and then Carolina. I'll start with that. You finished in Carolina. What do you think about Frank Reich being named the new Panther coach, Quintin?
Yeah, that's crazy. I actually just found that out from you guys. And, the way things went down in Indianapolis, it was really tough for him. Frank's a great guy, a great coach. And, he had a down year. It was really sad to see that because, you have so much respect for the guy. So I'm glad he's in Carolina. He's going to do a tremendous job with that program. And, Charlotte, I played there my last year. It's one of my favorite stops in my career. I love the city. The people are awesome. The fans are awesome. The team, the organization, all the people that work there is awesome. So he's going to be a great coach there. He's going to enjoy it there, and I think he's going to do a great job.
Awesome. Well, I got to ask you about the Eagles, man. It's a tough task they have in front of them. This Niners team's on fire right now. Really good defensively, weapons galore on the offensive side of it, and this is, a game where the Eagles have got to be on their A game. What do you think about this contest?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think the one thing that really has this defense, especially going against this offense, has going for them is they don't really have like a pure number one threat outside. A lot of the way that they're able to manufacture points and scoring and moving the ball is all through the system. So in a game like this, as a safety, a former safety, and the linebackers are going to be very important for these guys to play discipline, read their keys, and not necessarily believe everything you see. They're going to kind of tip their hand at some point. And so this is one of those games where if the defense comes out and plays discipline, read their keys, but also play aggressive, because that's one other thing when you play a team like this is that when you get all these different movements and boot actions and cross boots and all these different things coming at you, it tends to make you kind of freeze up and stop what you're doing, and that's what they're banking on. So if they play smart and aggressive and read their keys, they should be just fine.
Q, from a defensive perspective, when you look at the Niners' arsenal of weapons, this is the best array of weapons the Eagles will face all season long. Who worries you the most?
By far, Kittles. I think I was reading a stat like he's 19 for 19 last couple games that he's played against this Eagles defense. Not necessarily this Eagles defense, but so he is by far the biggest threat for us because he's a matchup problem. He's big, he's strong, he can block, he can catch the ball, he can run after the catch. And so he's going to be someone that a young quarterback like Purdy is going to be looking towards for. And also like that nickel, middle of the field linebacker position has kind of been like a weak spot a little bit for us. So I think Kittles is going to be probably the biggest threat. And if they're able to limit his catches and limit his targets, I think the Eagles will be fine on this defense.
Who's the guy? We were talking about it earlier, Quintin, and we're concerned about the middle of the field. Whether it's Kittle, whether it's McCaffrey. Debo is phenomenal in that space too.
Yeah.
Do the Eagles have the personnel to be able to contain that, at least in your estimation? And if so, who are the guys that you would look to in those matchups?
Yeah, I think the linebacking core of the middle of the field can stop this. I think it's going to be key. You have Kaiser White, who's very athletic, can run with those guys, but he's kind of up and down with his play. He kind of gets lost at times. He gets his eyes in the backfield. He takes false steps. So he's got to be really, really on key with his keys this game and make sure he's not over jumping and overplaying certain things. And I also think TJ is going to be he's going to be vital in terms of the run game. He's got to be able to play downhill. He's got to be able to get off blocks because it's going to be a lot of zone run. He's going to be moving lateral. He's got to move lateral and then vertical like right away. So I think they have the key. I think they have the players that can stop that. Now, obviously, the nickel position with CJ and sometimes with Josiah.
And Avonte's practicing today, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good news because going to need him, especially, I can see them putting McCaffrey in the slot. I mean, we've had issues in the past in the slot position, so that's good to hear that Avonte Maddox is playing, or he's practicing. So, I think they can. I think they can do it. I think they'll be fine.
You've played against a number of the dual threat quarterbacks. Obviously, it's evolved much more so in the last few years than when you played. But when you look at the problems that a Jalen Hurts can present, break it down for me. What problems he can present for a very technically sound 49ers defense?
Well, I've been a big fan of Jalen for a while, and we've always been saying that the biggest worry was, can he consistently throw the ball in the right spot? Can he throw it on time? Can he find the open guy? Can he manage the game and spread the ball around? And he's been doing that all this season. So it's been wonderful to see a player like him. The toughest thing to stop him is now that he has weapons now, right? So, he can run the ball, he can hand the ball off, he can throw on the run, he can throw from the pocket, he can throw the ball deep, he can throw the ball timing over the middle. So he presents a huge threat for this team. And I know this defense is very good, but on the outside, I don't think their corners are as good as our receivers. I don't think they can hold up on the outside. So I think it's going to be really key how he throws the deep ball outside the numbers this week.
What's your approach to a rookie like that, like with a guy like Purdy, as a defense, individually, whatever the case may be? He's a guy who's been pretty, to his credit, pretty steady, right? But this is a different environment. It's a different animal when you come into this. You step into this place for sure in this setting. Do you do anything differently, or you just play your game? Like what do you do here against a guy like that?
Attack. And I've on our show with me and Jason Avant Q&A, we've been talking for the last 2 years. I feel that Gannon, although last week he did blitz a little bit more and he did get more aggressive. if I'm coming in this game, I got a young quarterback, first time on the road against a good, very good defense, top to bottom, in the NFC Championship game, I'm attacking him. I'm coming after him because you don't want him to get. First of all, you don't want him to get comfortable.
That's right.
You don't want him to feel like he can play in this game. You want to make him doubt himself early, and you do that by changing up the coverages. You do that by aggressively blitzing every now and then. You do that by having different exotic looks from your front, and that's how you affect this game. And even when I watched the Seattle game with Purdy, like he did have some nice plays, but Seattle, there was a couple of times where like Bruce Irvin had him kind of pinned up and he let him escape, and he found McCaffrey in the flat for like one or two times for a touchdown. And so I think two things you have to do: you have to play tight coverage, especially with the linebacker play. If it's a pass or a boot, and a running back kind of leaks out to the edge of the defense, we need to clamp down on that right away, and we need to get after it with our front and with some exotic blitzes and change ups with the coverages. I think that's how I would attack them.
Okay.
In a game like this, teams sit and analyze each other, and you think you can pick up on tendencies and things like this, but outside of the quarterbacks, this is a matchup that's basically even across the board in a lot of ways. Do you expect to see plays of deception? You think I think you're going to see a little bit more trickery in this game, more so than you would if you've watched both of these teams closely all season long.
Yeah, especially with this Niners offense. Shanahan's a kind of a master at putting guys in different places. Like he'll motion Debo into the backfield and hand the ball off to him. He'll put McCaffrey out in the slot. He'll put Kittle's out, flexed out like a number one receiver. So it's definitely going to be a lot of trickery this game, and not necessarily with flea flickers and trick plays like that, although I do think they're going to see some of that. But it's going to be a lot of thinking for this defense where you're going to have to be kind of on top of it of, who's where are they lining up, what are they trying to do? Oh, you got to snap the ball, now we got to go. And I do think the Eagles offense, and I like Steichen. I think he's very, very smart, and I think he picks and chooses when he gets aggressive and kind of gets tricky. And I think I've seen some things where I'm hoping moving into this week that we can take advantage of this defense, because they are a good defense, but they can be had. And so I'm excited for it. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff we're going to see in this game from both teams.
They can be had. Where do you think? Downfield, secondary, maybe a little bit of a weakness for them.
Yeah, the secondary, the corner positions on both sides are, I would say, our best chance to attack them. I think down the field, those guys don't hold up. And I think I saw another stat where versus the deep ball, this is probably where they are not very good at, and definitely down the middle. So I'm thinking outside the numbers, down the field, down the middle of the field, that's where we should be attacking. And the Eagles team has the weapons to do that.
Do you stay in close contact with the Eagles organization in a lot of ways? Every time I talk to a lot of former players, they do. Do you or no?
No, not really. Like there's a few guys that I talk to in the building, and every now and then, I'll shoot a text to one of the guys like BG or somebody like that, that I still kind of talk to. But, my personality is not the type to, always kind of be around in everyone's business. So I kind of enjoy it from afar.
What, it's been an amazing year for them, 14-3 in the regular season. Then you win that game. What has surprised you the most about the Eagles' success this year?
I think two things. To me, the biggest things on the defensive side of the ball is how the play of the defensive front has been. I know these guys were good, and I know they're all been stars at other places. They've been stars with this Eagles team, but what they've all been able to do, and to do it collectively, with this front 4, 5, 6, however many they are, and that there was no egos. Everybody kind of came together as a unit. And a lot of times when you have all these superstars at one position, it can kind of get a little chippy, but everybody's celebrating each other. So the way this defensive line has come together and dominated has been amazing to me. And also the growth of Jalen Hurts has been great for me, and it's been awesome to see. And the confidence and the leadership that I've seen him exude has been a great surprise, and it's been awesome to watch.
Hey, Q, look at the way this roster was assembled, from the free agency acquisitions to the draft picks and how he kept adding pieces, training camp, and even in the regular season. Does this team compare to any team you played for in Philadelphia in terms of just depth, or is it that much better than any team you played with?
I mean, in terms of depth, aside from a couple positions, this has probably been the best Eagles team assembled ever. I mean, you look at there's stars all up and down this roster. And we had some good players, especially the years when we went to the Super Bowl and we were good. We had some really good players. But I mean, Devontae, AJ, BG, you got Sweat, you got Fletcher, you got CJ. I mean, it's just all across the board. The way that Howie and his team has put together this roster has been truly amazing. Even when guys go down, I mean, guys like Reed Blankenship that a lot of people probably didn't think was going to be as well. I was really impressed with him stepping in. So I think the depth and top to bottom, star power, this team has it all, and this is probably the best team on paper that the Eagles have ever had.
What was when you were here when Howie was here? What was your relationship like with him? Are you surprised that he's evolved into this guy who's put together that kind of roster?
So I was when I was here, Joe Banner was still here. Howie was in the building. He was kind of more like with the contracts and stuff.
Yeah.
I did work for the Eagles one year when I was when it was Doug's first year. I did director of player engagement for the team. Okay. And so like I didn't really have a whole lot of experience with him prior to that 1 year I worked for the Eagles. So, but I think seeing his growth and I will say this: when I was in the building, it was not my department, so I had nothing to say with it. But a lot of the decisions that were made that we heard in the media, and as players not privy to those meetings, was that a lot of the decisions were based on quote unquote analytics, right? And so I kind of had this, most old school players, guys like me. We have not a disdain for it, but there has been kind of a split between like actually watching the tape and seeing what a guy can do on film, and then kind of looking at the analytics and going from there. So I think what Howie's done really well is kind of blended those two, taking ideas and thoughts and I'm blanking on the word, but anything from the football side, and he's taking all the analytic stuff and kind of putting it together and making the best decision. I think that's been that's why this team is put together the way it is, and I think that's been great for this organization.
Hey, back in your day, you guys had to deal with Joe Banner when you had to sit across the table from him. He's smiling. Every time I talk to former players, they say, man, Joe Banner make you want to kill him before you got to a contract negotiation. What were your negotiations like in dealing with a Joe Banner, man?
Well, I never really had anything back because when Joe was here, I was basically still a special teams guy. So my second, I was a rookie free agent, and then my second, I had a rookie free agent deal, then a 1 year tender, and then my second contract was still kind of based on a special teams type contract. So I was just happy to be here, man. I came from the bottom, so I wasn't, when it came to that stuff, I wasn't really in that. But I've heard some horror stories, and I've heard some things some I don't want to get into it, but I've heard some stuff about Joe. But I mean, it's a business too. Like it's kind of how it is,
How you liking the podcast world with yourself and Jason Avant? How you liking that?
Man, I love it. It's been fun. And, as a player doing some of the media stuff, and I tried a little bit of it after I retired, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I do love doing the podcast stuff because, first of all, you can wear a sweatshirt, you can be chill, you can be anywhere, you can be traveling and hop on and do your podcast. So I love that part of it. I love the freedom that you have to be able to just kind of go your way. And if you want to go off on a tangent for 20 minutes, or if you want to talk about a different sport for a second, like it's been really cool. So I enjoy the freedom, and I enjoy the experience of being able to still be a part of the game, but still have my own individuality with it.
In a lot of ways, I'm surprised that you did podcasts because you were always a quiet guy in the locker room. You said what you had to say. You were very respectful. You tried to answer everybody's questions, but you were not one of these animated guys. You weren't like a jokester, like a Hugh Douglas or a Brandon Graham type guy. How long did it take you to get comfortable doing this and to really just unwind and just let it flow the way you do now?
Yeah, I always was really nice. I wouldn't say nice, but I was really honest with the media, and
Right.
I think it kind of started with that, and then I kind of dabbled in a few things here and there, and then I don't know, just saw one day I reached out to Jeff Mosher and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about, because I started watching podcasts myself, and I'm like, I was seeing everyone kind of telling all their stories and talking about their playing days, but also, the current stuff. And I was like, I could do that. Let me try it. And so, I remember talking to you. I was on your show a few times and asked a couple questions, and I just started learning and watching other people. And Jason's really good. Like you said, he's very animated. So I think it's a good balance because he's very animated and I'm still can be myself and kind of quiet and reserved.
Yeah.
And so it works well. And that's the cool thing about being a podcast is that I can be myself.
Okay.
Funniest guy you ever played with?
The funniest? Oh, man. There's Hugh Douglas by far is probably one of the funniest. Lito Shepherd was funny, but he was funny for a different way. He was just funny, just naturally. Like I don't even think
good old country boy.
Yeah. So those two are pretty funny. Dog was actually pretty funny too.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people, he thought he was serious at times, but every now and then he'd start cracking jokes and stuff.
All right, this a follow-up. You may have just said it. Best player you ever played with, besides Doc, maybe. If you give me somebody besides Doc. Let
me see. Best player. I would say probably the best player was Sheldon Brown. Sheldon, I don't think he ever got enough credit for how good of a player he was. I mean, he was a lockdown corner. He was physical.
Yeah, physical.
He could play any type of defense. He could play press. He could play off. He could blitz. Like Sheldon, he's one of my favorite teammates, but also one of the best players I've been around.
That's cool.
Those guys.
All right, let me take it to the other side of the spectrum. Who's a player that you sometimes just make you cringe? To make you think, you know what? If I can make this individual disappear right here without getting caught, I would.
I don't think I would make this person disappear, but Derek Burgess scared the living daylights out of me.
So many people say that. Why? Why though?
He's one of those guys that there's no BSing with him. Like you can't joke with him. I remember one time we were out and I made a joke about something saying he was a hater. And I was a young guy. Like I think he really wanted to harm me. Like he really wanted to beat me up. I was like, D-Burge, I'm just kidding, man. Like I ain't calling you a hater for real. Like you don't have to stall me out, man. Don't beat me up.
Yeah. He was an intimidating guy in that locker room. That's for sure.
Absolutely,
That's funny. All right, last one, Quintin. Who wins in the AFC, man? Who takes the Bills and the Chiefs matchup? Or
that's
Bengals
a tough
and Chiefs,
one. I think it kind of depends on who's going to be available. If the Chiefs have Mecole Hardman available, and what's the other guy from New York? They traded for him in midseason.
Kadarius Toney.
Tony. Yeah. If they have those two available, I think that the Chiefs will win because they'll be able to stretch the field and get down the field and open up the middle for Kelsey. If those two are not playing, I think it's going to be the Bengals strictly because Joe Burrow's playing at a high level. I don't think there's anyone in the NFL that can, really shut Jamar Chase down. The Bengals run game is on point, and this offense is just firing on all cylinders. So I think it really is key. What's going to be key is who the Chiefs have available outside. It's hard to go against Mahomes when he has all his weapons.
All right,
but I got the So
follow Quintin, and we loved having you on, man. We'd love to have you back.
It's been overdue.
Yeah, Hugh Mikell 27. And tell everybody where they could check out your Q&A podcast with former Eagle Jason Avant as well. Quintin.
Yeah, so we're on YouTube, Inside the Birds Q&A podcast. So if you go on YouTube and Inside the Birds, you'll find us there. It's their platform, but we kind of have our own show on there. So
awesome, man. All right,
do a great job, man. Great job.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
no problem, man. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was fun.
All right. Have a good
day. Enjoy Boise.
Mikell kind of the top one. It was fun, man. Good catching up with him. It's been a while.
man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Way overdue. Yeah.
All right, Gunnar, let's come back and let's react to Frank Reich. Let's react to Nathaniel Hackett, what that could be maybe for Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. A lot of NFL news. We'll do that in addition to birthdays and movies and everything we generally do in the last segment. So don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, we're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We're right back.